Wednesday takes defeat for the first time against Peterborough. Let the meltdowns begin. So Wednesday travelled down midweek to London Road to face a Peterborough side that had their first defeat of the season on Saturday. Both teams made an excellent start to the season. It was always going to be a very tight game. A tight game that could hinge on a small decision here or there. Anyway, let's have a look at the way Wednesday lined up. Stockdale in goal. One change to the back three. Reece James coming in onto the left-hand side of that. So that's Hekwe, Hennigan and James at the back. Liam Palmer captaining the side on the right-hand side of midfield as the wing-back. George Byers restored to midfield alongside Volks and Backinson. Johnson on the left and Lee Gregory restored to the forward line with Callum Patterson after coming back from his suspension. A few talking points in there. The obvious one, some folks, he's dropped Bannon. Dropped, rested, do you know what I mean? I think there is a subtle difference. Bannon played just about every minute of every game last season. You know, he's 32 years old, he's played a lot of football this season. We've had games every 2 or 3 days. And the manager said, we're going to have to keep an eye on folks' fitness and see where they are in terms of fatigue and whatever. And I know we've only played a handful of games. But if you look at Saturday, if you look at that heat, that's going to take it out of players. Especially somebody from Scotland. I mean, I think he's from Airdrie. He will have never been exposed to that sort of heat in his life before. Unless he walked too close to a burnt out car. I can't say it, half my family's Scottish. There you go. George Byers restored to the starting lineup. I was really pleased with that. I like the way George Byers moves the ball about. I like the way he always looks for a forward pass. And he's made a lot of interceptions. And I wouldn't exactly say he's a ball-winning midfield player, but he's made a lot of interceptions in the last few games, so understandable there. And into the back three, Reece James came in. I said in the preview I'd like to see him. I like what I've seen of the lad. He's got a level of composure. Come back to bite me on the arse. And I like the balance it brings having a left footer out there. So I was pleased with that starting lineup for Wednesday. Peterborough lined up with a 3-5-2 that McCann's took to playing recently. Back three of Thompson, Edwards and Kent. Ward, another Thompson. Fuchs recalled to the starting lineup with Taylor. Burrows on the left-hand side, who's been coming under a bit of stick from their fans apparently. And up front, Clark Harris and Jack Marriott. The midfield three are playing sort of strung right across, and Wednesday aren't pressing like they usually do. But away from home, obviously they're a team that are fancied for promotion, Peterborough. I think that's something we've got to bear in mind as well when we're looking at this first defeat, is that they are the team that are expected to go straight back up. So Wednesday play sort of flat three with Backinson and Byers and Volts, and I think that's working well. And in 6 minutes, Wednesday have the first chance really. Byers gets up down the right hand side, puts a really good cross in after, it's a 1-2 with Patterson. Patterson's coming in, he's about to sweep it home, and that Edwards makes a really good block. It's really good in the way that he gets him in front of the ball. Actually, it's his heel, but nevertheless it does the job. But first real chance was to Wednesday. I thought we were set up here for the really good away performance. These were a team that had been scoring a lot of goals, and Wednesday are sat deep, nice and compact. I'm not going to call it the low block because that's the sort of language that can just get out the fucking window. But Wednesday are nice and deep, nice and compact. And Peterborough are playing some decent stuff in their half, and then they're looking a little bit frustrated and they're just trying to get stuff in behind. But Wednesday are sat off, there's no real space in behind for them to expose. And it was a really good opening half an hour from Wednesday. Clark Harris buys a really soft free kick on edge of our box. He gets forward and it's like a feather's touched him up back, and for a big lad he collapses under weight of it. 2 minutes later, Callum Patterson's out there and if he can get away with it, I'll have a bash. So he chucks himself on the floor after the slightest of touches, and ref gives a free kick for that and all. Nearly scored from free kick, gets fizzed in, bobbles down to Patterson, and he absolutely catches it sweet. It's arrowing into that bottom corner, takes a massive deflection off their lad and goes out for a corner. At this stage, 20-25 minutes, Wednesday are really growing into the game. Like I said, we sat deep. They're having a bit of ball but not really going anywhere with it and trying to look for a long one in behind, get Marriott or Clark Addis after it, but there isn't really the space for them to stretch. And then Wednesday start growing and having their own little spell. Byers and Volts are getting things going. Backinson's really calm with his passing. And we've got a front two, Gregory and Patterson, are really putting themselves about. And to be fair, at this stage, some of the defending from Peterborough is a little bit, ragtag, and they're looking under some real pressure. There's a lot of sort of last ditch stuff that they're having to pull off. The one player in there who's really putting himself about is this Ronnie Edwards. I quite like the look of him. Apparently he's quite a young player, I know, but really Wednesday are having a spell. 29 minutes, there's the first sort of proper chance from them when Marriott sneaks in, gets away, and Big Ben Hennigan makes a terrific block. But that's like half an hour, and that's their first real sort of opportunity. Then comes the turning point in the game. And it is the turning point because genuinely, I think it's an evenly matched game, which Wednesday are probably edging, in all honesty, until this point. Now, I said I was looking forward to seeing James because I thought he looked calm, collected, uses the ball well and seems quite a sensible player. He goes in there, it's a tackle he doesn't have to make. It's on halfway line. Lad's only just really sort of flicked it on. And for me, genuinely, I think it's a yellow card. I do. And I've watched it back, and I've heard John Pearson, and I've heard lad who were doing commentary with him, and I've seen online stupid tackle, and it is daft in this day and age. That's daft because you just can't. We can't put a foot in, can you? But I don't think he even boots him. Is it high? Yeah. Is it out of control? I don't think it is. His foot actually goes across the front of him. He don't. You know what I mean? His foot goes up, and it goes across the front of him. It's a yellow for me. But anyway, was I surprised when red came out? In this day and age, no, weren't. It's daft in the sense that you don't have to tackle there, you don't have to challenge for it. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Although if that's a tackle, there's a 2 foot from behind on Lee Gregory second half. That's not even a free kick. But anyway. Daft. In this day and age, daft. For me, a yellow, but in this day and age, it's not like that these days. No. I know it ain't, and ain't it fucking shit. 2 minutes later, Kent goes in late, wipes somebody out, yellow card. For me, right decision. Absolutely right decision that Kent got yellow for that. Weren't a sending off. Late tackle, took somebody out, it's a yellow. But if he's applying laws how he is with Thurston, then that tackle that Kent does, which I rightly think were a yellow, should also be a red. But no. But James shouldn't put his foot up there. He shouldn't put his foot up there because with today's refs and today's rules, you can't try and block a clearance, can you? So, well, maybe it depends what colour shirt you've got on. Said I weren't going to wound up. I'm trying to. For a couple of minutes after the sending off, Wednesday went to a 3-5-1 with Callum Patterson as right wing back and Liam Palmer dropping into the back three. The George Byers incident, God, that's been blown out of all proportion, hasn't it? Twitter, everything, Facebook. That is nout. It's really nout. Now the thing is, when somebody gets sent off, managers often change things around. Somebody usually gets the hook. Byers gets the hook. Why? Well, personally, I think obviously Backinson's quite good in the air. I think that's one of the reasons. And obviously Volts were taking all the set pieces, the corners, the free kicks. He's got his long throw, so I could understand why Darren Moore took Byers off. Now Byers has obviously got a strap on. He's not the first player who'll get strap on getting subbed, especially in the first half. Fucking hell, of course he's pissed off. I don't think he's particularly all so pissed off with Darren Moore because about 2 minutes before that, there's a foul out on Gregory on that side, we've already talked about, just gets wiped out, referee does nothing. And you could see then that Byers was really, really angry because races and over chasing referee about for 30 seconds, and you could see tensions were high. It was an emotionally charged game, especially after that sending off that should have been a yellow card. So it was already like, so when number comes up and you're already in a temper and a mood, yeah. But it's been made such a big thing. I've got no problem. Now he gets to the bench. Where I have got a bit of a thing is he's got a bench. He's whatever. And then Jamie Smith follows him up and ends up getting a yellow card himself. When folks have got lip on, just fucking leave them alone. Genuinely. Kids, lip on, leave them alone. Yeah, don't pay them attention when they're doing that. Do you know what I mean? Someone's got lip on, let them go and calm down. Just don't be following them. And that to me was like, when someone's pissed up and acting a bit of a twat, The thing that winds them up even more is when somebody goes, think you've had enough to drink, mate? Just fucking leave them. So, Byers pissed off, disrespectful, but he's just a player with lip on. So, I've got no problem with that. Don't know why Smith's followed him. I'd have just let him walk past. I think Darren Moore did the right thing. Just stood there and ignored it. That's what you do. Now, the actual change itself, little bit of shuffle. Iofa comes on for Byers. So Iofa goes to the right of the back three. Hekwe moves to the left hand side of the back three. And it's actually a really positive change. It's a 3-4-2. Now, he's get absolutely hammered for this because we're conditioned to it. Because every time a team goes down to 10 men, 4-4-2 becomes 4-4-1. Or 3-5-2 becomes 3-5-1. There's always one up front will sit back and try and, and then you just watch your team take a pummeling for 90 minutes, conceding 90% of possession and just hoping you can cling on for a memorable 0-0 or whatever it is. But he's left two up front, and I know I will stand alone. There's hundreds of thousands of Wednesday fans around the world, and I know they're all probably going, take a striker off. Personally, I saw he left two strikers on. I'm like, no, good. Because I would rather lose knowing we were going to have an attack than knowing we were in probability going to lose and never see their half at field. That's just me. Is there a difference between a loss and a loss? Well, yeah, there actually is to me. So I saw that. I thought it was brave, and I was like, yeah, fair play. Honestly. I know I'll stand alone. Not bothered. Wednesday actually come out really positive in second half, despite being a man down. And I think part of the reason is, and I think it's part of the reason why he left two up front, I actually think he thought he could still win this game. Now, you can call that naivety or whatever you want, but for me, I was like, yeah, great. I mean, 2 minutes in, Liam Palmer gets completely wiped out. It's not a yellow card, because fantastic opening from Wednesday in second half, and they're really getting forward and attacking. Patterson does some really good work. The ball comes in across into the box from a set piece, and it bobbles out to Volks, and he absolutely creams it. It's a howitzer. He can't hit that any better. And their goalkeeper, somehow, Bergstrom, manages to save it. It looked to go Lawlins up. And if Wednesday had scored there, that would have put massive pressure on home side. Ifs and buts, I know. But it's a really good spell of pressure from Wednesday. Then they're clearly thinking, right, they're clearly going to have some at ball in this half. We're down to 10 men, but if we can nick one first and have something to defend. Gregory gets wiped out on the right hand side. That one's not even a free kick. Never mind the booking, it's not even a free kick. But it's a really, really good spell from Wednesday. Patterson and Gregory absolutely working the socks off. They really are. They've put a massive shift in. But obviously, the 10 men, you can't sustain that sort of pressure. If we'd got a goal in there, I think it would have been worth gamble. And I do think he'd have possibly then said, right, I'll sacrifice a striker, we'll put an extra man in midfield, or we'll put an extra man at back. But I think it was positive. That's the way I'm looking at it. He thought, even with 10 men, I'm going to go and try and win this game. As it were, we had that spell, we couldn't quite make it count, and after maybe 15-20 minutes second half, some tired legs starting to show in there. Peterborough start to use the ball well and make Wednesday chase about a bit, which is always going to happen. When you've got that extra man, that's always going to happen. But the start to the second half from Wednesday, I was really pleased how they went about it. takes its toll after a while, and it did take its toll, and they started growing into the game, but that was only to be expected. What they probably wouldn't have been expecting was that the first 10-15 minutes after the break, it were Wednesday having a right old pop at them. Referee actually gets a decision right. Hekwe, they get a ball in behind when Wednesday are on attack, and Hekwe gets an absolute fistful of Marriott's shirt and pulls him back, and it's a clear yellow card, and he got one right, so whoop-de-doo for him there. 64 minutes, the pressure pays off for Peterborough. It's a ball down the right hand side, it's a crossing, and it's Hennigan, sadly. I mean, he's a big unit. He's lost Harris, and it's a little tapping header for him. Wednesday then changed the shape a little bit, and we actually go to a 4-3-2. Windass comes on for Hekwe. Palmer and Johnson drop back into full-back positions, giving us that back four. Palmer, Iorfa, Hennigan and Johnson. Patterson drops into midfield, Volts, Backinson and Patterson in net, and he still keeps the two up front. Even at, 1-0 down, he's still thinking, yeah, I can get a goal here. It's still a positive change. Okay, we're going to go back four, we're still going to have three, we're still going to try and get a goal. It's 1-0. We've had a good spell, maybe with fresh legs, because we went on top. We had a little spell on top, and he's probably thought with fresh legs, maybe we can do that again and nick one. As it is, a minute behind, we fall behind further. Is it because he's kept two up top? No, it ain't, because quite simply, it's out in a left full-back position, and we just don't stop a cross coming in. Again. And it's a ball in and a free header. I'm going to do another video about that separately, but that is not the fault of having two strikers on the pitch. It's in that wide area. We've got enough players out there. The near side midfield player is going to cross. The Johnson, who's not left back, is going to cross. We don't stop the cross. And in the middle, Iorfa's lost his man this time. It was Hennigan for first and Iorfa for this one. And it's another little nod into the net. So it's 2-0. And then Peterborough really start dominating. Then they've got an extra man. They've got a 2-0 lead to sit back on. And they really start dominating the ball and pinging it about. Wednesday are looking tired and strained, but they're bound to. And as soon as they're 2-0 down and there's 5-6 minutes to go, there's no point sprinting about and getting yourself injured, is there? Save yourself for the next game. Although Windass has a nice little jinking run and nearly gets a shot onto the near post, but their keeper, who were massive by the way, he got an hand to it. And Wednesday looked more and more tired. I mean, Palmer makes a fantastic block when Marriott and Taylor linked out left hand side. And Wednesday are dead and buried at that stage. So he does a sensible thing. Gregory comes off. Game's gone now. He's safe for another day. So gets a run out, gets some time in his legs, volume. And in the end, it's a comfortable, in the second half, win for Peterborough. And that's how it'll go down in the history books as a comfortable win. But for the first 15 minutes of the second half, it didn't look comfortable for him, even when we'd got 10 men. And the first half up to the sending off, I don't think that looked comfortable for them either. I thought Wednesday looked like they were going to do something. So, first defeat of the season. In a way, I think that stops that expectation building too high. Because the more and more wins you get, there's always that thing that snap when you lose. Folks think, oh, it's the end of the world. So, get it out of the way early doors, Let the moaners unleash their avalanche of fucking negativity, which is going to come. It is. It has. All in all, it's a defeat. Am I upset by it? Yeah, because you want to win every game. I'm upset in the manner of the defeat. No, I'm not actually. Not at all. To say we had 10 men, I thought we'd give it a right good go. Am I disappointed in the manager? No, not really. I think he made changes before the game to try and win it in terms of his selection, and I thought it was looking like we were going to do that until the sending off. Have I got a problem with the bias situation? No, because it's an emotional game. He's got subbed in the first half of the game. Of course he's annoyed. That's the end of it. I'm sure they'll have had a chat. Sorry, I was pissed off. The end. So it's only us that'll carry that on and try and make an issue of it. I thought they had a go, even when he made his subs when we're down to 10 men. Positive changes, trying to keep two up front, saying, yeah, I think we can nick a goal here. They didn't have it all their own way until that last 20 minutes. Don't worry about that. So First defeat, frustrating. Thought we played well generally. If I've got one issue, it's the manner of the goals. Both from the right hand side, both crosses, both headers. Every goal we've conceded this season. Anyway, time for them to regroup, get on, ready for the next game, and honestly, I'm not paying too much heed to this result. The only thing about that game that I'm annoyed about, frustrated about, is the daft challenge. There's no need to make that challenge. It's not a red card in my head, and you know what? It never will be till the end of time, because I think he's just going in there to try and block that. I do, honestly. That's always a yellow to me till the day I die. Everyone else, it's a red these days. Maybe it's a red these days. Maybe in the future days it'll be a lifetime ban. I'm trying to block a clearance like that. Maybe it'll be a lifetime ban, one with ban tackling and heading and everything else. But for me, it will still always be a yellow. Now, the only thing that's really annoyed me is the manner of the goals, headers. And if you allow crosses in and you allow free headers, that doesn't matter if you're playing one up front or two up front. That doesn't matter if you've got 11 men on the pitch or 7 men on the pitch. If you allow crosses in and free headers, you will concede goals. I'm going to have a cup of tea because I'm not upset, but I'm stressed at the same time, if you know what I mean. Also because of the absolute avalanche of negativity last night. I know when you lose it's annoying. I know when we... But the negativity that's come out, and genuinely, I think people have been waiting for us to lose so they could say, fucking shit. I fucking told you he was wank, told you he was a shit player, told you he's a shit manager. That's how I feel, that people have been waiting. Come on, fucking lose one then. Great, they've lost one. That's how I feel. Little red eyes out in there in the dark waiting to pounce. But yeah, other than them crosses, and that's down to a player. If you're a full back, it's down to you to get out there and stop a fucking cross. And headers. Other than that, no, I'm not too annoyed. I think it's been worse this weekend because everyone else is conditioned to. You're down to 10 men, leave one up front. Down to 10 men, you're probably going to lose. You're probably going to lose. Especially if you're 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose. You might get a draw at best. He's thought he can win it, and you know, if you're going to lose a game, I'd rather lose a game trying to win it than lose a game trying not to lose it. Does that make sense to you? So, Monk would have left one up front, and Lahuka would have left one up front. They all would have left one up front, and he said, no, I'm not going to leave one up front. And you know what? He's lost. But he lost thinking he could nick it. Fair play, I say, honestly. Bollocks to negativity, I'm not in mode this week.